Gratitude. For the last 4 years, my wife and I have served as volunteers at a summer camp for children in the foster care system. This year, due to not only a change in leadership but also the COVID pandemic, the organisation Royal Family Kids were unable to offer the 4-day camp, and so instead we put on a 1-day fun festival in Ventura, California this past Saturday. I learned 2 important lessons while serving at the camp with my wife and our son Henry. Firstly, always wear sunscreen, even in November. Just because it's 30 degrees cooler up there in Ventura and overcast doesn't mean the same fiery sun that burns in our backyard in Santa Clarita, California, isn't putting down some pretty hefty rays just off the Ventura Highway. Secondly, and a little more profound, gratitude is a glue that really bonds people together. The children who visit the summer camp every year are always so grateful for all of the effort we put in to make it a wonderful experience for each of them. These are children between the ages of 7 and 11 who have been let down by adults who should have loved them the most. We're all volunteers who serve as camp counsellors. I can see the gratitude in the shining eyes of the children and the foster parents. Likewise, I've noticed how the volunteers are grateful for each other. It's the common cause that draws us to be of service primarily to the children and secondarily to each other. If gratitude was a food group, we were most certainly well nourished this past Saturday. Relating this concept to the real world of work, I've noticed there appears to be 3 types of people when we peer through the workplace window. Let's take a look inside. First of all, the great ungrateful. Have you ever worked alongside the great ungrateful in the workplace? I have. Have you ever had to supervise them? I have. Ever been served by them as a customer? I have. What did that look like, feel like, sound like? See, I've noticed the great ungrateful always seem to have a chip on their shoulder. They always seem to think someone has it in for them, or that they're being hard done by. You always get the sense they think someone is taking advantage of them. The great ungrateful are the folks who believe their labour is worth much more than what they're being paid for, and so often just do what needs doing to get by at work. The great ungrateful put in minimum effort and yet expect maximum rewards from their employer. The great ungrateful always suspect they're being taken advantage of and stew in a state of constant suspicion that someone, somewhere, has it better than them. Number 2, the fickle responders. These are the employees who respond well if they're treated well by others. The problem with the fickle responders is their response can change if they're not treated well by others. They're very reactionary. One day they're all fired up because of the external stimuli, and then on another day they're caustic, cynical and callous because the wind changed direction. You can tell a fickle responder by the language they use. They'll talk favourably about one leader and how they're better than their old leader. They'll badmouth a colleague because they're not as effective as someone they worked with previously. See, the fickle responders have favourites and exhibit what they call micro-iniquities. One day you might be on their nice list, and now all of a sudden you're on their naughty list, and you wonder, well, what changed? Thirdly, the eternally grateful. Sadly, the eternally grateful are a very small part of the working population. Interestingly, in a recent Gallup poll, the word grateful was an adjective selected by less than 8% of the surveyed population when asked to describe their response to their employer and the organisation kind enough to put money into their bank account every 2 weeks in the form of a paycheck. The eternally grateful are such great people to be served by as a customer. They exhibit genuine zest and verve for the work they do each and every day. The eternally grateful make excellent colleagues as they always want to go the extra mile. They know how their partnership with their internal customer directly impacts their external customer. And if I've observed anything about leadership, I've noticed that those that are eternally grateful are men and women of high character and high competence who exhibit this gratitude in the way that they lead. So let's all recommit to 2 important and timeless principles as we head into next summer. Firstly, always be grateful. And secondly, always wear sunscreen.